certain complications arose, which meant that for a period, Mr. Grabowski-Levitt gave your sperm to all the women in his clientele. You have sired 533 children, and 142 of them wish to know your identity.
What?
This was really, a great movie to be a part of, because I think a compliment to the writer-director, to Ken Scott, it really doesn't limit itself in sort of being one genre. I mean, I think what's really amazing about this movie is it can be very touching and very funny, but also kind of dramatic and at times really kind of tense. So it's very unique that a movie will kind of, to the extremes that this one does, put all those things kind of under one roof. And I think as an audience, when you're watching it, it's really surprising where the movie goes. It's very unexpected. And so as a result, I think the big laughs that you get, as well as the really touching moments or the real kind of hard struggles that people are going through, they all really hit you in a way because you don't get conditioned to sort of processing one. So for me, this was a real joy. I think this is the most kind of grounded, dramatic performance I've had the opportunity to give in a long time. And so I was really excited to get a chance to work with material like this.
I think I might want a kid.
As your friend and as your lawyer, David, may I be brutally frank with you?
Sure.
You don't have the skills to bring up a child.
Oh, I was so comfortable in this role. I was wearing a robe and long johns almost the whole movie, and it was really great. It's funny, my dad used to wear a robe around the house, and he was also a very big man. I was pretty big for this movie. I was almost 300 pounds, and a big belly, probably stuck out to about here. And when I would tie my robe, it would sit on top of my belly. And I used to always ask my brother and I would say to my dad, like, why do you tie your robe on top of your belly? It looks ridiculous that way. But it turns out normal fitting robes on a big man, that's just where the tie lands. It's like right here. I think it's designed for a small gal or something like that. So that was something I brought in there into the characters. I said, I'm going to tie my robe right on top of my belly like my dad used to.
Yeah, do you have a stroller for 533 children?
No.
No. He doesn't. Because it's not normal to have 533 children. It's not normal. I think, they do, Ken does a really great showcase. There's this whole character, these children coming into David's life, Vince's character's life, but then you also get to see Chris Pratt and his little children, and I don't know where the mother is in that family, but she's not around. But, him being kind of a single dad and just being exhausted and overrun by all these kids. But then there's also, I think even, Vince's character David says that there's such beauty there, and it's a life, and I think that, I think that you have to put your relationships as a priority in your life and put time in with your kids, and then you have these great relationships.
So I've been thinking that we could plead insanity.
What?
I don't know. Maybe you would not be held responsible for actions taken while mentally unstable. I mean, we could bank on your mental problems.
I don't have mental problems. I don't have mental problems!
When we're in court, I want you to say it exactly that way.
When Steven Spielberg and Stacy Snyder from DreamWorks, they always do, interesting movies, and they wanted to do it, I first was kind of like, well, I don't want to just take the concept and do it again. And what was important to me is that the same writer-director wanted to do the movie. And in sitting and talking with him, he's a really passionate storyteller, and he said this is a very important story for him to tell. And he said, I told it there in Montreal for that audience, and I really want to tell this story for this audience. And I think when you can see the movie, you can really tell kind of the honest and focused place that he works from. So for me, and I think most actors would agree, the director means so much because you're ultimately fitting into their movie. So working for Ken was really, really great.
Father on probation.
Yeah, you get no slack.
For how long?
Forever.
Well, will our child have to call me Daddy on probation?
No.
Will I have to wear a uniform that will separate me from the regular daddies?
No.
Then I accept.
Vince is real. Vince is a real dude, and he is a dude. He is like, there's just something real about him, He's from the Midwest. I think people from small towns all across America can really, and around the world, just small towns, real parts of of the world understand. They just like they connect with something with him. You know, he's like he's a blue collar kind of guy. You know what I mean? And working class type of guy. Even though he's like a mega successful millionaire movie star, you get the sense that he's like his characters are working class guys with regular day problems, and I think that's something that people really relate to.
Well, he's a very sweet man. He's a very, very kind, considerate man, and I think that I think he's gotten attention in the past just because he's so smart and he's so quick and he can explain things, and his comedy is so fast, and the way that he just kind of runs with things is pretty impressive. And I don't know if I know there's been moments in his film, but I don't know if he's had the film that it's just him kind of being a very grounded character and a man who's in the situation without having that intelligence to really get himself out of it, you know? So I don't know why he hasn't done it in the past, but I hope he gets to do more of these in the future because he's so great in this film.